Hello, all you beautiful people out there. What is going on? This is your friend Birdie coming at you fast with another Beast Builds video. And today we are going to be looking at Narbash, the Gnarly Basher. Ha! See what I did there? This is what happens when you don't have any friends. Anyway, let's move on to the deck. Bandcamp, I called it because I like making witty names. Doesn't even matter. Still, another side effect of having no friends. So we're going to go over and start off with the prime card of the Centurion, because Narbash is pretty damn durable, as you guys can tell over here by his stats. So we're going to build him as a tanky caster, pretty much how we build Iggy, but we're definitely going to be having our own different twists on him because, of course, his affinities are different than that of Iggy's and Scorch's, and this deck is probably the most complicated deck that I've ever built, meaning it uses the most amount of equipment cards and substitutions. So you definitely want to watch the video, but if you're too lazy and you just want to read it, the description of the build itself and the order in which you upgrade the cards and everything is in the description of the video. You guys could check that out. And if you want to see him in action, you guys could check out my in-depth hero guide, which is not out yet, but it comes out shortly after every beast build. So let's get into this. So, like I said, he is a tank, and he is going to be played like a support. We're going to focus this deck with him to build him tanky and as a support, meaning we're going to have very minimal damage. We are going to build a little bit of damage, but it's going to be very minimal, and we're going to focus on mana, health, armor, and mana regeneration. Okay, and we're also going to focus on a little bit of health regeneration, definitely in the beginning as well, because early game health regeneration is one of the best kind of active cards to have, and that's exactly what we're going to start with. We're going to start with Overflowing Gifts. Now, with every single build, I usually start with a health potion and then like maybe a strike token and a health token, or maybe a health potion and two strike tokens, depending on the hero or whatever. But as a support, Narbash is there for your allies, okay? He is supposed to be in lane with a different hero, and I will go over this in my guide. So usually you want to focus on keeping your teammate alive. And Overflowing Gifts is a very good active because it's pretty much another health potion for your ally and even yourself. It grants you 10 health regeneration for 14 seconds to yourself and nearby allies, and it gives you a little bit of mana regen at the beginning, which is nice as well. If we look at the health potion, this is pretty much the same thing. It gives you 10 for 15 seconds. So Overflowing Gifts gives you 10 for 14 seconds. Not quite as good, but it heals your allies, which is why it's really nice to have basically a third health potion for your allies in the beginning of the game to keep them longer alive in the lane and keep them, farming when the other enemy has to back, for example. Or, in an early team fight, it gets you some extra health regen, which is really, really important. Okay, so that's what you're going to start off with. Then the first item that you're going to build, the first equipment item that you're going to build after the starting sequence is going to be Lord's Ward, okay? This is going to give you a good amount of health, mana, and a little bit of cooldown reduction in the beginning, and we're going to slot this with 3 lesser healths, okay? I'm not going to press the buttons because everything in this deck is perfect right now, and it's a full 40 card deck, but we're going to slot this with 3 lesser healths, okay? We're just gonna give Narbash a good amount of health in the beginning. We're gonna let him be tanky. We're gonna let him be in the middle of the fight longer because Narbash is all about sustainability. He's all about staying alive as long as he can and being as useful as long as he can in the middle of a team fight and just on the field in general, which is why we're gonna build him with health, mana, and mana regen, because mana regen allows him to stay in the fight longer as well. Okay, so that's why we're going to start off with this health in the beginning, because it's going to let us be pretty darn tanky in the beginning, which is really, really good for Narbash, again. And plus, he does a decent amount of damage, okay? He's not super awful in the beginning, because casters do start off with a decent amount of damage early game, so, he'll be able to deal at bit between his melees and his thunk ability, and then his ultimate also does some damage, so you don't really have to worry that much about it, in my opinion, because the point of Narbash is again to support your allies and provide crowd control. Now the next card we're going to go into is going to be Fountain Spike. This is where we're going to get a little bit of our damage from now, and we're going to go with 3 basic manas. This is where we're going to build our mana, 3 basic manas, and the full upgrade bonus is going to give us more damage. So there you guys have it. There's your damage early game. That's how it's going to be, and then we're going to get progressively more and more damage throughout these cards as we upgrade them. So this is going to be your next card after your Lord's Ward. It's going to be Fountain Spike with 3 basic manas. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to go in after that is we're going to check the enemy team and see who is ahead in damage, what their strongest heroes' damage types are. So for example, if they have a Grux and a Greystone and a Twin Blast and only a Murdoch and a Decker, we're going to go build physical because 3 out of the 5 heroes are physical. So we're going to start off with Tempered Plate, and we're going to go with, if you have it, 3 Minor Guards. If you don't have 3 Minor Guards, I use 2 Minor Guards and 1 Lesser Health. If you only have 1 Minor Guard, then use 1 Minor Guard, 2 Lesser Healths, or just try to play around with the overall general number of points in your deck, and you can go like 1 regular guard and 2 lesser healths, and then just put 1 point less somewhere else. But basically, the most ideal is to have 3 minor guards. I only have 2, so I substitute the third one with just 1 more lesser health, just to get a bit more health. Okay, this isn't that important. This is just a placeholder for later on, because we will substitute this and all of our other weaker cards later on in the game. This is why it's so complicated, and that's why this video might be a little bit longer. Okay, so again, 3 minor guards if you have it. If you don't, 2 and 1 lesser health. Okay, same thing with Toon Barrier. Okay, we're going to go with Toon Barrier, and we're going to go with 3 minor barriers. I do have 3, which is good for me. So we're going to go 3 minor barriers. Again, if you don't, 2 minor barriers and 1 lesser health. Okay, so there are our 4 equipment items, and then we also have our starting Overflowing Gifts item. You could probably still have this item at this point. It doesn't matter. I don't substitute this item in until later anyway, like around 48 points-ish, and we'll talk about that because we substituted for a different active that becomes a bit better later on in the game. So the 5th card that I go with, rather the 6th card in total right now, but it's weird. I never really count my starting item as a card because I usually get rid of it anyway. But anyway, the next card in the order to avoid confusion is going to be Amulet of the Veteran. It's going to give us a little bit more extra damage, and it's going to give us a good amount of health. And we are going to slot this with 3 greater healths. Okay, this is going to be our first late game item that we're going to fully slot out with 3-point cards. We're going to do this with 3 greater healths, so Narbash is just a complete tank at this point. He has like 3,600 health, around somewhere like that. He's just really tanky at this point, and he's really good, and this is where we want to put him before we start substituting our cards out for our late game versions of the same cards, pretty much. Okay, so there we have it. So there's the Amulet of the Veteran, 3 greater healths. Okay, pretty easy to remember. And this is where things get tricky, so you guys want to pay attention. So now the first thing that I like to swap out is actually my ward, okay? So I swap out my Lord's Ward, which has 3 lesser healths. I swap that out now for a Brawler's Ward, okay? And the reason behind this is because now we have a lot of health, thanks to our Amulet of the Veteran, thanks to our armor cards and everything else, that I can now substitute Lord's Ward for something that will give me a little bit more damage, and this is now going to be my new mana card instead of Fountain Spike, because we're going to be replacing Fountain Spike as well. So we're going to slot, and now pay attention, we're going to slot 2 mana, not 3, 2 mana, as you guys can see here, 10 out of 12, 2, okay, basic math, and 1 basic mana, okay, and I will show you guys why in a second. 2 mana, and then 1 basic mana. So that's 5 card points worth of upgrades, alright? Not 6, 5. Okay, this is going to help us with our math, alright? And this is going to give us plenty, okay? We're going to have over 1,000 mana by the time we're done with this, and that's going to be more than enough because we're also going to have mana regen. So again, you substitute Lord's Ward, okay, you take Lord's Ward, you throw that shit out, and then you put in Brawler's Ward, 2 mana, 1 basic mana, and you're good, alright? You're good. You don't need any more mana. Now, speaking of which, now that you don't need any more mana, you can throw away Fountain Spike. That's going to be the next card you're going to substitute, is Fountain Spike, when you'll get 6 points back from this card, just like you'll get 6 points back from Brawler's Ward when you throw it back. We're going to get rid of Fountain Spike, and we're going to replace it with Quartzblade, which now we're going to build with mana regen. Now, again, Quartzblade gives you more health, and it gives you a bit more damage. Notice how we're building continuously more and more damage because we need to, compete with minions as they scale with more armor later on in the game. And the full upgrade bonus is even more health, which just adds to the tankiness. And we're going to put 3 advanced sparks. Okay, this is going to give us a ton of mana regen. By the time we're done building this card, we're going to have a total of about 5 to 5.1 mana regen a second, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when you're just chilling idly, you know, clearing lanes, clearing waves, just waiting for your mana to regen in between team fights, it does come back pretty darn quick. I was going to say gosh darn quick. I can't talk right now, guys. It's too early in the morning for this ish. But anyway, there's the Advanced Spark. 3 mana regen cards in there, and that's going to give you your sustainability in team fights. Plus, again, more damage and more health is always nice. I love Quartzblade. Quartzblade, I feel like, is a very underrated card. It's really, really good. Okay? So now that we replaced our Lord's Ward and our Fountain Spike, now we're going to replace our Temper Plate and our Toon Barriers with a second Temper Plate, which is now going to have 3 Greater Guards because we just already have so much health. We don't even need, you know, that much more health anymore at this point because so many of our other cards give us that health. So we're going to go with 3 Greater Guards on our new Tempered Plate, okay? Very standard. And we're going to go with 3 Greater Barriers on our new Toon Barrier, which is going to replace our little old one. Okay. Now, the order of this could vary. Again, I forgot to mention this. You could go with Honor the Pure last, or you could go with Honor the Pure before replacing these armor cards. I tend to go before because Honor the Pure is a very nice active. So we're going to get rid of Overflowing Gifts. Probably after we replace our Quartzblade and before we upgrade our Temper Plate and our Toon Barrier. But again, you can replace this at any point in the game that you'd like. You can really put in Honor the Pure at any point in the game, at least after you've upgraded your Lord's Ward to a Brawler's Ward, okay? And if you don't have a Brawler's Ward, just go with another Lord's Ward, okay? You'll just deal a little bit less damage, but it's okay. So anyway, Honor the Pure is a really good active card. It gives you 100 health, 75 mana, and you can shield yourself and nearby allies for 5 seconds, absorbing up to 50 plus 10 times the player level of damage. So, now, this isn't too crazy amazing, but it has saved people's life in the past just by a little bit, and it does, in my opinion, help out quite a bit in just a little bit. You know, like, a lot of people overthink this card because if you really do the math, at max level, at 15 level, you'd only give your allies 200 shield, which is not that much, but it's still 1 to 2 hits from a lot of heroes in the game, which could give you enough time to save your allies because Narbash has health regeneration. So any extra second, any 2 seconds you can get is going to help your allies in regenerating their health, or it'll give you that extra second you need for your speed ability to recharge, for your march ability to recharge. Honestly, guys, it might not sound like a lot on paper, but in battle, it does help a lot, and you guys will see me use it a lot in our team fights where it does help out just a little bit, and it's just enough for us to win team fights, or at least help to win team fights. So that's why I like Honor the Pure. A lot of people overlook it just because when you do the math, it's like, it's only 200 at its very best. Who cares? Like, I can hit 500 when I crit with Murdoch. Like, that sucks, bruh. So, whatever. I mean, you can try, but I enjoy it, okay? And that's about it. So, once you replace your Temper Plate and your Toon Barrier, that's your final build right there. Okay, guys? So, all 60-point cards right there in your face. This deck is consisted of 40 cards right here, just down to the brim, alright? I couldn't make any extra space for any extra cards. You'd kind of need everything. I mean, maybe get rid of a health potion, because I don't really use a health potion. I just like to always have one in my deck, just in case. You never know. But, yeah, there's the deck. And hopefully you enjoyed it. It was really complicated, so if you do need to rewatch the video a couple times, I understand. I'm sorry. But there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If it does help, let me know down in the comment section below, or maybe even with a like. And if you like the video, you guys could subscribe for more builds and guides and all that good stuff. And as always, make sure y'all have a wonderful day. Yes, my nose is stuffy. I'm dying. Please help.